know what's happening here with us in Palm Beach County. And as we do on this show and on CocoWire.net, we will continue to tell the stories of our communities, of the African diaspora, which, as you are aware, I'm sure, are African Americans, Caribbean Blacks, and Native Africans, so that we all get a better sense of how rich and interesting our communities are. And we will get a sense of that for sure this month, February, which is National Black History Month, which began as Negro History Week in 1925, thanks to Dr. Carter G. Woodson, a son of two former slaves who would go on to earn a doctorate in 1912 from Harvard University. Okay? Harvard in 1912. He chose that particular week in February because it was the birthday week of two men whose work Dr. Woodson felt had been crucial to the achievement of his people, Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. By the time of Dr. Woodson's death in 1950, Negro History Week had become a central part of African American life around the country. Then came the birth of the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s, which focused all Americans of all colors on the contributions of African Americans to the nation's history and culture. Then Negro History Week became expanded into Black History Month in 1976, thanks to then President Gerald R. Ford, who actually urged his countrymen to, and decades later, I quote, honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor through our history. Interesting. Okay, now today's guest knows a lot about history too. That would be the history of the city of Riviera Beach, where she was born and raised and has been since 1998 a full-time city employee. That came after her graduation from FAMU in 1993. Debrah Hall-McCullon is the author of Riviera Beach Moments, a series of books about the people, places, and history of her hometown. And even though the focus this month at the national level is on peoples of the African diaspora nationwide, Ms. Hall's focus is on the entire city, not just the people who look like her and who live on the west side, okay? Riviera Beach Moments also includes the stories of the city's huge water-based industry and about its barrier island full of Europeans, that's known as Singer Island, and about its leadership class, its business class, its spiritual class. She is also the founder of the Florida Black Sports Hall of Fame, which opened in 2019 and which celebrates what its name says. Now, we'll hear more about that later. Now, the third edition of Riviera Beach Moments just printed last month, and all three are available on Amazon.com. Just go there, type Riviera Beach into the search engine. And how about this, ladies and gentlemen? When the first edition was released in February of 2020, it was on the bestseller list for 6 weeks, okay? Miss Debrah Hall-McCullon. Yay.
Thank you.
The talented teller of your city's story. Welcome to cocochats.
Thank you for having me.
God bless you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited to talk about Riviera Beach history.
And, and it's huge. What you've done is huge.
Thank you.
I mean, you decided to take control of your hometown's narrative.
Yes.
And you did it by writing books.
Yes, I did. I felt that I had to do something because we were called a city in turmoil and the most dangerous city in Florida, and full of listen, when Old Dixie was changed to Barack Obama Highway, we were called drug dealers and prostitutes.
Wow.
So it just came to a point where I said, well, I'll do what I can, with my training in journalism to put the good of Riviera Beach into this book to show people that we are more than who they say we are.
But you started all of this, though, with posts on social media.
Right.
So tell us how all of this got started, why it got started, how, when,
Okay, so,
and why did you start with social media, too? Yeah.
Okay, the city was going through some tumultuous times in 2017 when the city manager was terminated. And there was a particular news network here locally that just raked us over the coals, and the things that were being said were so derogatory, and they lumped everybody into the same bag and said that we are all in turmoil.
Yep.
And I said, well, I'm not in turmoil. You know, I was born and raised here. My parents bought a home here, and I know some good people who live in Riviera Beach, who are from Riviera Beach, and who have gone on to do some great things in this nation. And I felt that it was worthy to share their story and let locally people know that everybody from Riviera Beach is not bad or struggling or thug or what are they that were corrupt, in turmoil. So I purposely put this information out on Facebook because that was my biggest audience. That's where I had the most followers.
Oh,
I started doing the Facebook posts, and I was like, well, what do I call this? And I said, well, you know, this is just a moment in time along the way. So that's where I get the moments from.
Oh,
and I
okay.
called it Riviera Beach Moments. And that started, I believe, in January of 2017. And moving forward, the next month for Black History Month, I just said Riviera Beach Black History Moment. So here we go.
Okay.
And every day I featured a different person on my Facebook page.
All right, but you have not changed. Like, your books don't focus just on Black history.
No, they don't. They are specifically about not Black history. They are specifically about Riviera Beach history. It just so happens that the majority of the people in the city are Black. Now, yeah.
Right.
But I started from the beginning when it wasn't that way. When most of the city was Caucasian people over on Singer Island. Initially, there were Black people over on Singer Island.
Yeah, just like it was on Palm Beach.
It was the same scenario of, you know, except for burning them out, they were run off the property pretty much.
And to me, that is so interesting because the story about Palm Beach and the sticks, that's been told, but it's like nobody knows that in Riviera Beach, Singer Island started out with a bunch of Bahamians, you know, because that huge, you know, fishing industry.
Right.
Yeah.
And in my research of the beginning of Riviera Beach residents, which back then it was called Oaklawn. Yeah, in part of Dade County. And then afterwards was known as Lake Worth, and then Kelsey City, and then they incorporated Riviera Beach in 1922. Mm-hmm. But you know, it has a very, very rich history. But I started from the beginning, and you know how Paris Singer, how purposely there were some things that they did over on the island. Those Bahamians were there working and fishing. And in Palm Beach County history, they called the Black people over on the island at that time squatters.
Really?
They called them squatters.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, how do you call a person a squatter and they're already living there, and then you come over there and you take their property and run them away?
From them,
yeah.
right, but they're squatters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you know, what's interesting is your books do talk about people, you know, but you also talk about locations, and you talk about even the naming of streets.
Yes.
So I'm just kind of wondering, how did you decide, you know, what to include, you know, and not to include?
Since I've been working for the city so long, and specifically having to deal with our past and current council members, some of the topics discussed that come up even from the public, you know, as in regards to street naming, you know, how are the streets named? And at one time, all of the streets had names, and then they changed to
names of people.
Names of people. The property owners named particular streets after their children.
Wow.
And then in the 1940s, the council then said, hey, we're not going to do that anymore. What we're going to do is all of the streets running east and west will have numbers, and the other streets running north and south will be alpha. A to Z, yeah.
Yeah.
A to Z. And the only streets that didn't change were Blue Heron and Broadway. They retained their name.
Okay.
But everything else changed. That was in the 1940s.
Oh, okay. And so when did they change? Just curious. When did they change? I guess that's 8th Street. When did they change that to MLK?
That was in the 90s. And that was through Miss Bertha Orange, who was a council member. But when it actually went into effect, she was no longer a council member. But she got the petitions and went before the council. And at first, they wanted to name Blue Heron Boulevard after Martin Luther King. But, you know, a lot of businesses, you know, going towards the island.
A lot of pushback.
Right. They didn't want it. So that's how 8th Street ended up being named Martin Luther King Boulevard.
And, you know, interestingly, speaking of 8th Street, I also learned that Riviera Beach is the only place where MLK
And Barack Obama
Obama actually meet.
Yep,
Yeah,
they
because
intersect right there.
Yeah. Did you wrote about that in your?
I didn't put
Yeah,
that, or
not
did
yet.
I? Yes, I did. I put that in the
probably
book.
put so much of that where you don't even remember.
It should be in the first one, but yes,
Yeah.
that's the only place in the world where they intersect.
I think that is so interesting.
Right in Riviera Beach. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. We're a unique city.
But what do you like most about Riviera Beach?
I like the small town feel. People are familiar with each other, and you know, the beach and other attractions on the west side of the track. I just love that we're a progressive city, but we haven't gone too far. You know, as far as the development goes, some people like the small town feel. I'm for a small town, but give me something modern in my small town.
So, do you still live in the city?
I still live in the city.
Why didn't you move?
Because it's a great city to live in. Plus, I work in Riviera Beach, and I love that I can get to work in 8 minutes with traffic. Okay. It's only like a 2-point-something mile ride, but I really do love the city.
But how do you square then what you read about, you know, in the city and what you hear about it, you know, that it's poor, that it's crime ridden, that black people are horrible.
Right.
I mean, when you know that there's so much more, that's so much better.
Right.
I mean, how do you square that?
Well, I have to understand where that's coming from and why it's done on purpose. And what a lot of people don't know is every day Riviera Beach homeowners on the west side, we get texts and we get calls and we get cards left in our mailbox asking to purchase our property. Because now all of Riviera Beach is known as waterfront property. If you live on S Avenue, your home is waterfront property.
Really?
Yes, the entire city is marketed as waterfront property. So there are a lot of changes that are going to be taking place in the city. And I have been encouraging people, if you're a homeowner in the city, don't sell your property. Hold on to it.
But, you know, I remember reading somewhere, I don't know if it was in the Palm Beach Post, but that, I don't know, somewhere, but like that the rate of home ownership in Riviera Beach has always been high, especially on the west side, but then lately it's been dropping.
Well,
because
there are a lot of homeowners. However, the homeowners don't live in the city. The majority of homes that are owned in Riviera Beach are owned by people who don't look like me or you, and they live outside of the city.
Oh. But it used to be, I remember, like, you know, back in the day, they said that, you know, especially on the west side, it was like really, really high rates of home ownership.
And as a matter of fact, the area from 1st Street, closest to Australian, that area between Barack Obama and Australian, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, that was homes that were built because of a GI Bill for African Americans. Who they had a program for those men coming back from service for them to get home ownership. And that's how that started with the homeowners. And then, you know, when we went into the 80s and 90s, those original homeowners, they got older. Some of them took out a second mortgage on their home. And a lot of those homes were foreclosed on. So, you know, with that crash in 2008 and, you know, they got older. The kids weren't interested in living in the city.
Probably a lot of them had left the city.
A lot of them left and to go to school or whatnot and didn't return. And, you know, some of those homeowners have passed on. So, you know, the what I call the slumlords, they come in and they buy the property for little or nothing and then put it on Section 8. So,
but you graduated from college in 1993,
right?
And a lot of college grads, you were just, you know, didn't come back. You know, they did their thing, but you came back home.
I've always had an interest in. I wasn't keen on living in Tallahassee when I finished. I did after I left school. I had a job there, but my heart was always here in Riviera Beach.
Really?
And when I came back,
Your heart was always in Riviera
right.
Beach.
And when I came back, how I ended up working for the city is, I came home and my dad said, "Hey, I need you to go up there and pay my water bill." It was $45 back then.
Wow.
I said, okay.
Long time ago.
So I went and I paid the water bill, and I've always worked in libraries. Even when I was in college, after college, I worked in libraries. So I went in the library and I wanted to get a library card. Signed up for the library card, and then I saw a flyer on the bulletin board that said that they were looking for a part-time person.
And you were like, yes.
Right.
And you applied.
Right. I applied for the job. I got the job, and I've been going ever since.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I've met so many people in that library. I'm talking about people who are successful business owners. While they were in college, they were coming in there getting homework help.
Wow.
And now, they're multi-millionaire business owners.
Yeah.
So, and I've always loved giving back to the community. Always. And through that library, I was able to help a lot of people.
But when people are saying that your city is in turmoil, your city is crime ridden, is poor, but you still you didn't see any of that.
No, because I know better. And I know that when they say those things, they weren't talking about me or my brothers or my parents or other people that I know who live and work every day in the city. People, not everybody's out gang banging and stealing from each other and shooting and stabbing. You have that in every city. But because it's majority black city, Riviera Beach, that's what they talk about when they talk about Riviera Beach. They talk about the turmoil and the crime, but they don't talk about, successful business owners. They don't talk about Ashley Walker, smoothie me, please.
Okay. Or the fact that, and I saw this some years ago, that Riviera Beach has more taxable property.
It does.
Than Palm Beach Gardens.
It does.
More than $8 billion. It is not a poor city.
It is not.
It's got a marina. It's got a port. Mm-hmm. It's got a barrier island.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't know that some parts of West Palm and Palm Beach Gardens have been annexed into Riviera Beach. It may have that 33418 Palm Beach Gardens zip code, but it's Riviera Beach. You may have the 33407 zip code, but it's Riviera Beach.
But why is that? Do you know?
The city annexed property, the unincorporated property, the city is Riviera Beach now.
Oh.
So the city got the property and houses have been built there and people live there.
So of all the things that you have written about in those 3 books, what was most interesting to you, most compelling to you, or most surprising to you? Anything?
The most surprising thing to me were some of the stars that grew up in Riviera Beach that went on to make movies, that run networks. And
really? Because I thought only sports stars came from Riviera Beach. Running and throwing balls and stuff.
Matter of fact, the CEO of Microsoft is from Riviera Beach. He went to John F. Kennedy High School.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He's in volume 1.
God bless you.
And then you have George McCrae. Woman, take me in your arms and rock you, baby. He's from Riviera Beach.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Grew up in Riviera Beach. He sure did.
Wow.
There are so. And most importantly, Yvette Miley is from Riviera Beach. She's the senior vice president of MSNBC and NBC News, and she's the one that hires Al Sharpton and Joy Reid and those kinds of people. She's the boss.
And she's from the hood.
She's from Riviera Beach. Yeah.
Wow.
Born and raised here.
And then I heard, too, that woman that's on, I think that's Channel 5, Miss Rozier.
Angela Rozier.
She's from Riviera Beach.
She's from Riviera Beach, WPBF, Angela Rozier, Channel 25.
Wow. So tell me, what do you hear from people about your books?
I've heard great things about it. I did not know, for example, when the first volume came out, I did not expect any number 1 on anything. I put together some information that I thought some of the teachers would be able to share with their students to help lift their self-esteem knowing that they're going to school in Riviera Beach, and perhaps give them some people that they can look up to, and say, hey, if they can do this coming from the same kind of street that I lived on, then I could apply myself and make something of myself other than going to jail and prison and shooting up on the corner. So that was my main purpose, was to get the information out about the good people in the city, where we've come from. How did we get to this point? Who were the people that were the decision makers, so that made the decision? So when you walk out your front door and you look at your city, those people are responsible for what you see when you walk out your front door.
Love that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if y'all have seen it, but Channel 12 has done a story about you. Tell us about that real quick.
They call it the Faces of Black History, and every day they feature a different person in Palm Beach County, and I just so happened to be the first person that they selected. So
from Riviera
Beach, and my segment aired February 1st, which was on Monday.
And ladies and gentlemen, y'all can still see that too. That's if you go to their website.
Yes.
And now, before we go, because we only got a couple more minutes, tell us about this Florida Black Sports Hall of Fame, and why did you start that, and when and why?
Okay, so I invited the National Association of Black Scuba Divers to Riviera Beach. They never heard of Riviera Beach. There are thousands of members of the National Association of Black Scuba Divers. Really cool people. So they came for a 3-day weekend to the city, and with that, I formed a partnership with the Palm Beach County Sports Commission, who also, they have their own Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So I know several coaches and athletes who will probably never get inducted into the Palm Beach County Sports Hall of Fame. Okay. People like my dad, who was a coach. My brothers, they were coaches.
I mean, Pop Wynn, remember him?
Pop Wynn. So what I did was, people like Pop Wynn and
who taught everybody how to do martial arts.
Yeah, he's actually in there. He's in inductees class of 2020.
Love that.
So I asked people to nominate people. And from there, the list kept growing. And I think that those people are worthy to be recognized, because they weren't just coaches. They were mentors. They were role models. And to some of them, they were dad to some of those kids that were on the teams that they coached.
And what I really like about that Hall of Fame is, a lot of, Riviera Beach has, a lot of, professional athletes. But I like the fact that this points to others who are in sports. They may not have become star athletes,
right,
that everybody's pointing at, but they still contributed to.
They did.
Yeah, the achievement,
right,
of a lot of articles. Okay. So, anything coming up, Miss Lady?
Well, I have a couple of appearances that I will be making through the city. One of which, the Riviera Beach Library will doing a Black History Forum on February 10th. And then there is another event that the city is putting together. I'm sorry, I don't have that date, but I got the call to participate as a panelist. Yes. I definitely be watching. But I just love history. I love, to read about it and you love to write about it. Yeah, I love to write about it. I really do. Some of the, matter of fact, where I work at, we have a vault of original documents dating back to 1922. Mm-hmm. And it's unbelievable, some of the things that came up in the council meetings at that time. In the 1920s and 30s, there was a bar actually on what is now Martin Luther King Boulevard. And the sheriff at the time told the bar owner that his music was too loud. So they wrote a resolution to say, you got to turn your music down or we're going to close you down. It was a bar and barbecue spot. Wow. Wow. So are you proud of yourself? I am proud. I am humble. Sometimes a little bit overwhelmed, because I try to, for people who want books, I try to get them out as fast as I can. And the main thing that I do love about what I've been doing is that people are talking about it. People have more pride. I used to be ashamed to say I was from Riviera Beach. And I'm not alone. Not anymore, because I started researching. I was like, hey, I'm standing on the shoulders of all of these people. Yep. I can't say that, oh, I'm from West Palm. We'll say we're from West Palm or Miami. No, I'm from Riviera Beach all day.
And proud of it.
And very proud of it.
All right. So let everybody know how they can get in touch with you or see your books. Or...
You can go to Amazon.com. If you type in the word Riviera Beach, the books will pop up. There's volumes 1, 2, and 3. You can email me at rivierabeachmoments@gmail.com. If you need me to call you, leave your phone number, and I will be glad to call you or get in touch with you. And if you're a teacher and you need books, please let me know. Email me at rivierabeachmoments@gmail.com. And, if you have any forums or anything, it doesn't have to be Black History. If you're having a book club or a book discussion, please invite me. I would love to participate and share this wealth of information that I have. I'm always available.
And I appreciate your availability tonight. Oh, it's over.
I was telling you, she wrapped up right on cue.
Okay. Well, I didn't get to do the close, but I guess that was the close.
Well, thank you.
Yay.
I appreciate it, Marion. That was very nice. Thank y'all so much.
And you're doing something. Oh, shit. I just hit myself in the face with the damn.
All right, so
Crazy. Let me get a picture of you, Miss Lady. Don't leave yet.
Okay.
And I want to...